All right, so let's talk about how I made $0 on YouTube for 10 years. And I'm going to talk about what finally worked, right? Because at this point, I have a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers. I make multiple six figures a month from my YouTube channel. I've built multiple different businesses based off of my YouTube channel, seven-figure businesses. And for about a 10-year period, I wasn't making any money on YouTube at all. So let's talk about exactly how this happened. So when I first started uploading to YouTube, I was a teenager and I was playing this game called RuneScape. And if you don't know what RuneScape is, it's like a massive multiplayer online something. It's like a game where a bunch of people play. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, but less good graphics. Um, and I was playing this game. I was really into it, and specifically, I was into kind of like dueling other people and fighting other people in the wilderness. And I would make videos on it, and then I would upload those videos to YouTube. So that is how I first started on YouTube. And in fact, I would go to. I didn't have a phone and I didn't have a computer, so I'd go to my local library, and I would basically illegally download software. They didn't allow that at the library, but I download screen recording and video editing software at my local library, and then I would edit at the library as well, and then I would upload the videos on YouTube. And unfortunately, I used copyrighted music, which I didn't even know was a thing at the time. I was like a freaking teenager. I was a kid, and they didn't like that very much. So yeah. This was back in like, I don't know, 2009 or something, 2009, somewhere around there. And so I did that for a while, didn't make any money with it. Then a few years later, I started making content about, and by the way, I should mention here, obviously, like at the time, I didn't expect to actually make any money. I was just doing it for fun, right? I didn't actually expect to make money with my RuneScape channel. But, I guess it was in the back of my mind, like, oh, maybe I could make money with this someday. But that never happened, right? Then a few years later, I started making content on sort of like life hacks, right? Life hacks for guys. And this one was a little bit more useful. So it was more on the education side instead of the entertainment side. And this time I actually was trying to make money. So I also made $0 from that. I think I ended up making, I don't know, like 5, 10 videos. I made $0 from that. Then I also made videos on study skills. So like study skills in general. Actually, I think I did the study skills video before the life hacks video. Yeah, the study skills video came first because I got really into productivity and studying efficiently because I was going to pharmacy. Well, I was trying to get into pharmacy school at the time. And so yeah, did the study skills thing. That didn't work out very well. Then I did the life hacks thing. That didn't work out very well. And with all of these, I was actually like trying to make money. And then I started a channel on pharmacy specifically, so helping people with pharmacy school. This was a few years later because I was in pharmacy school at the time. So I started a channel on helping people either get into pharmacy school or understanding different pharmacy concepts and stuff like that. And that also didn't work because right now I'm getting like super educational, super niche, right? And so that was really, really niche, right? I was like, I heard all these people like, oh, you need to niche down, you need to niche down. And like, that was extremely niche, right? Like pharmacy school, that was super niche. And that didn't work either. And then I think I tried one more after that, which was creating, I might even be forgetting, but I tried like another one after that, which was creating like 1 minute videos. I saw Nas Daily doing really well with 1 minute videos on Facebook. And so I was like, oh, I can do this on YouTube. I can do 1 minute videos on YouTube. And I made some 1 minute videos and they were awful. But yeah, so yeah, just failed over and over again. Finally, around 2017, one of the channels that I was uploading to, I made a channel about basically just random stuff. And I decided to call it my actual name. And this was really one of the turning points. Because when I first, all the other channels I made, I called it, something related to what it was about. The RuneScape channel, the Life Hacks channel, all these different channels. I called it something related to whatever it was about. With this one, I just named it my name. It was a personal brand. And so initially, I started talking about random topics. I decided that I wanted to do finance because I was really into finance at the time, right? And so I started talking about random topics. I made some videos on investing. I made some videos on Mark Cuban's investments. I made some videos on, I think like a 401k, how to do a 401k. I made some videos on cryptocurrency. And so I just did I was just doing these random videos. And oh yeah, I made some videos reviewing some courses that I took too. And I was just doing these random videos, and it basically didn't work out again, which is usually what happens when you first start a channel. And it's like people think that you're just going to have this plan and it's always going to go perfectly, but they don't realize that the very platform that you are watching this video on right now, YouTube, started off as a dating app. Yeah, seriously, it started off as a dating app. You can look it up. So the original plan almost always is not what you end up doing. You have to roll with the punches, right? And so that's why having a personal brand is so powerful, because you might think that you're going to talk about this, but then you make some videos and you realize, oh wait, talking about this is way better for me. It's way better for my audience. It makes more money. It's just better overall, right? And so you want to be able to have a personal brand because you are a living, breathing human being, and you will evolve and you will change. And so should your online presence. As you evolve and change, your online presence should be able to evolve and change as well. And so that's really like was the big breakthrough, is the fact that I made a personal brand where, if I talked about something and it didn't do well, then I could just talk about other things until something did do well, or maybe not even do well, just like, did I enjoy making it? And it did well, right? It could be a combination of those two things. Because later on, I talked about some other stuff. I talked about college degrees. I talked about careers. I talked about grant writing. Now, I had some videos on grant writing because I'd written grants for a 501c3 organization that I worked for. And so I had some videos on grant writing that did quite well. But I just didn't want to continue down that road. It just wasn't interesting to me. But then I had some videos that did well talking about the US education system and also talking about modern careers and also investing and making money online. And those were much more interesting to me. Alternative education as well, so like certifications that you can get, et cetera, to get good jobs. Those topics were much more interesting to me. So I decided to go in that direction, right? And that is, how everything really changed, right? Making sure that I had a personal brand, because chances are, like 99% chance, your original plan is not going to work, right? And so if you're rigid, if you just like have a name, like, if I named my channel Grant Writing Maestro, and then turns out the grant writing thing didn't work out, either because the audience didn't like it, or maybe I didn't like it, or, so I couldn't stay consistent because I wasn't passionate at all about it, then that's a problem, right? And that's probably going to be a reason why you don't succeed. So, one of the biggest breakthroughs was having a personal brand instead of having my channel, too rigid, too niche, too narrow. Being able to adapt, being able to roll with the punches because of the fact that I had a personal brand. Another really big change was going from entertainment content to education content. Because with education content, you're solving real problems for people, painful problems. And by doing that, you're giving value. And so it's much easier for you to sell things to people. It's much easier to monetize your channel when you're making educational content. Whereas with entertainment content, you're very limited in what you can sell, right? It's basically like AdSense, sponsorships, and maybe merch. And that's about it, right? So educational channels have much more optionality. Optionality, that's a fancy word, in terms of what they can sell, right? And there's just way more ways to make money with an education channel. Basically, I started making content on kind of education. I focused mostly on education at first. I'd make a little bit of content here and there about jobs and ways to make money and stuff like that. But I focused mostly on education, so either college or alternative education at first. And that's what got me to my initial 10 to 30K per month range. Is really just focusing and doubling down on that thing that worked, right? Once something worked, which the very first video that took off was the top 5 college degrees that are actually worth it. Once that worked, I really doubled down on it, right? I basically like just beat that topic like a like a dead horse, like until I was tired of beating the topic for a couple years, and that's what got me to like 10 to 30K per month. And I gave a massive amount of value. I mean, I really added a ton of value to the like education niche. And then I kind of realized like that niche I was a little tired of, and I felt like I'd said everything there was to say. And so I pivoted very slightly to, from education to kind of alternative education, then alternative education to careers, and mostly focusing on remote jobs specifically. And that's kind of what got me up to about 100K per month, is really focusing on remote jobs and also focusing on streamlining my content creation and monetizing effectively. That's what got me up to 100K per month. And then to get from 100K to 300K per month, really the biggest thing was like systemizing and hiring people to do most of the roles so that I could focus on growing the business and not being in the business. That's what the biggest difference was there. But yeah, this is I guess the big points here are: have a personal brand or a channel where you can pivot, because 99% of channels, the original idea that you start off with a channel is going to fail, maybe even more than 99%. And so, knowing that, if you can pivot, then that gives you a significantly higher chance of success, right? So personal brands, obviously you can pivot. You could make a name that is easily pivotable. For instance, Mr. Beast would be an example of that. Like he could technically be doing anything, right, with his name. But yeah, make it either use your name or a personal brand that you can easily pivot with. The second thing is just try out a bunch of different topics. Everyone says to go niche, and I do agree. You absolutely should go niche. But here's the thing. There's this cycle of expansion and contraction that you need to go through, right? And it's like, you in order to find your niche, because of the fact that 99% of the time you're going to pick the wrong niche, right? So in order to find your niche, you actually need to try out a bunch of different niches. And then when you try out a bunch of these different niches, you're going to have ones that you like more, you're going to have ones that don't do well, but you're going to have ones that kind of intersect between what you like and what your audience likes, and they do well, right? And that's really where you want to be. That's the sweet spot that you want to be at. And so you want to try out these different niches, and then the one that works for you, the niche, the idea, the video format, etc., that one that works for you, you really want to double and triple down and just beat that like a dead horse. I'm telling you, just like make your entire channel about that niche and just really triple down. That's what really blew my channel up, is just really doubling and tripling down on the niches, the ideas, and the formats that work the best. And then after you get to a decent amount of money, you want to hire out certain parts of the process, like video editing. You definitely want to hire that out. And really, even before that, you want to have a really good system, right? You need, like, it all comes back to having a good system for everything. And this is what most YouTubers, most business owners, et cetera, are missing, right? So YouTubers that are struggling with YouTube, whether they're struggling with making videos or taking too long to make videos, or they feel like they're on the content creator hamster treadmill or hamster wheel, or they're not monetizing effectively, or they just feel like they're just not efficient enough. They can't get content out fast enough. They're always burnt out, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you're a business owner that is really struggling with YouTube because you just think it takes too long, probably, and you want to efficiently do YouTube, you need a system, right? That's the biggest thing. You need a system that just takes care of all those problems for you. And then you need to hire people who you can have run the system for you at some point, right? But at first, you need a system that you can just run yourself that's efficient, and it takes care of all those problems. We're talking templates, SOPs, scripts, prompts, etc. Like all these things that just save you time, and they make it to where you can efficiently upload content, right? And also just an overall strategy too. And once you have that system in place, things will just change for you. And if you are just recording videos by yourself, by the way, one of the biggest mistakes that I made is I put way too much effort into my videos at first, because the idea is the thing that's going to make or break your video. It's not how much effort you put in the videos. I've literally made videos where I put over 100 hours of work into them on my own, and they bombed. And then I had other videos where I put 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of work, and they'll get 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, million, 4 million views, right? So like the amount of effort you put into the video has very little correlation with how good the video does. However, the idea of the video has a massive amount of correlation with how well the video does. You really want to optimize for finding the right ideas for your videos. And I do that using the icon method. That's something I talk about on this channel. And if you do want an efficient system, when you're doing it by yourself, you really need to make your videos efficiently, right? So if you want an efficient system for making videos by yourself, I do have basically a guide for how to do that down in the description and the pinned comment below. So definitely check that out. And additionally, if you want help getting this set up, I typically work with coaches, consultants, online service providers, and basically just busy business owners in general. And then I also work with YouTubers who want an efficient system for doing YouTube so they can scale their channel and they can properly monetize their channel. Because a lot of YouTubers out there, they have a few things out of place. They're not monetizing correctly. They're doing a few things wrong, so they're not making money with their channel. And I can help you with that, right? So book a call down in the description in the pinned comment below. On this call, we will figure out where you are now, where you want to go. We'll figure out a plan to get there and see if we're a good fit to work together or not. And additionally, check out some of my videos. I'll just put a video up right here on someone who was kind of stuck on YouTube. She actually only had 85 subscribers, Nicole, and we were able to get her from 85 subscribers all the way to making $85,000 a month. And you can check that out by clicking right here.